Hey, all you cinema buffs out there. We're sitting here getting ready to talk about the Marvel movies we got coming out this spring.
Yep.
And we just got, presumably, the last trailers for both Infinity War and Deadpool 2. But, Nate, let's start with the trailer we got first, Infinity War.
Yeah.
What did you think? Like, does this get you more jacked up? Or are you at, max jack where you can't get any more excited for this movie? Or how do you feel?
Yeah, I'm not at max jacked for this, but I am excited about Infinity War because I think that the Marvel movies have been so consistent. One thing that struck me when I first saw this is how iconic the theme music has turned for me. I am excited about it. I do have my worries with it, though. What about you?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this one. It looks like a culmination of what has happened so far in the MCU.
Yep.
With some of these movies, like there are a few standout films as far as like being their own story. I think Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one.
Yeah.
The recent one, Black Panther.
Black Panther, definitely.
Yeah, those movies, I think those really stand out as their own, as where the other ones just kind of feel like an episode in a series. And I feel like with this one, it's like the first part of the season finale. Like,
yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping to get most out of this. I'm very excited for Infinity War, but I want closure. I want some kind of, I want some kind of culmination, something to end. I want a story to be like wrapped up,
Yeah, I agree. I also want there to be extremes, I want there to be change happening with this. I think that I never felt worried about the lives of the characters in the MCU. I never thought they were going to die or anything like that. So in this, I want the stakes to be really high where we feel like these characters are at stake and something is at stake in general. Because once again, even with the trailer, they're talking about, ever since I've known him, he's wanted to take over the universe. Like, it's just, once again, one of those things, is the world gonna make it? And I just hope that we feel like things are at stake.
Well, depending how close they stick to the Infinity War comic, I mean, I won't spoil anything for the comic, but there are some real, like, oh, this would never happen, and that stuff actually does happen in the Infinity War comic. So for this movie, I'm really hoping that, I mean, as morbid as it kind of sounds, I'm hoping that of the main Avengers, Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, and Hulk, one of them dies, just so like there's that unpredictability factor where it's like anything can happen.
Yeah, and I think that they will go that route. Which one do you want to die? I mean, that's like a hard thing to say, but which one would you want to take the fall?
How about let's phrase that as which character would I miss the least?
Sure. Okay, that's a better way to say it. That's a kinder way to say it.
Of those four, I would probably say it makes most sense for Captain America to be the one who dies because you have Sam Wilson, the Falcon, and then you have Bucky Barnes, Winter Soldier. In the comics,
he takes over.
Right, at one time, both those characters take over as Captain America. Sure. So that seems like the logical next step. And just recently, Chris Evans did announce that, not this Avengers, but the next one, he's done with Marvel. So that might be a thing. It might be, maybe just takes a back seat, retires, and maybe shows up later as like a Nick Fury type role.
Yeah.
But I would say Captain America is the most logical. But honestly, the one I would miss the least is probably Thor.
Okay.
As much as I enjoyed Thor Ragnarok,
I enjoyed it as well,
I just feel like it's like that's kind of like him going out on a high note before maybe he meets his demise in this one. How about you? Which one would you miss the least?
Well, it's kind of weird with these things because I want that emotional weight. Like I think I would miss Cap the most. I think he would have the most emotional weight if he passed away because I think he's the most passionate of the characters out of all of them. He wants the best for everyone, So I think
he's the most human.
He's the heart of the team. What I think probably War Machine. I can see him going down. Kind of just like to add another stab to Tony Stark because I don't think they'll take out Tony Stark whatsoever. But I think those two are at risk of quite possibly dying within this movie, or at least the two movies.
We saw in Doctor Strange how with the Time Stone he can reverse time.
That's true.
And then the stone that hasn't been discovered yet, the Soul Stone, that can control the living and the dead. So I'm really hoping that if they do kill off a character, they don't try to use one of those to bring him back, like turn back time or, resurrect him from the dead.
Zombie Captain America.
Exactly. I'm hoping they avoid that.
Yeah, I do too. Having so many big actors and characters on screen, they can manage this, but this is a whole new level. Just simply adding the Guardians of the Galaxy in with the Avengers and everything, how do you think they're going to manage with like pushing 20 actors and characters in one movie? Can they handle that? Can it have enough room?
Well, it's kind of hard to, it's easy to doubt it, but they thought that with the first Avengers movie, like these 4 main characters, like how that's a lot of mouths to feed.
Yeah.
Civil War thought the same thing. They're adding even more now. That's a lot of mouths to feed, and there's even more in this one.
I know.
But this is kind of split into 2 movies. There's another one coming out next year. So I think between the 2 movies they can pull it off. Yeah. But I just hope that there's no like obvious shoehorned like, oh well, Spider-Man's got to get this moment here kind of thing. Doctor Strange's got to get this moment here. I just hope there aren't any like, whenever these characters show up, I hope they're integral to the plot and they keep the story going. It's not like, well, we have to put Black Panther's sister in here for this scene because of this. Like, no, if she fits the scene, she pushes the story, put her in there.
I agree. Not a minute can be wasted within this movie. Everything has to count and it has to make sense. And you're right, there can't just be fanfare for the sake of it. Yeah. But one thing that I noticed is I didn't see Ant-Man once in the trailer, and I don't see him in the poster either. So I don't know if Ant-Man's going to have...
for as much as you don't see him in the trailer or poster. He could be.
Okay.
I'm just saying. Because I don't want... There's going to be someone in the comments like, if you zoom in on this shot, actually you can see him.
On the shoulder of Iron Man. Yeah, that's true, actually. So I won't say anything. I'm going to examine the poster with a magnifying glass now just to see if he's hiding anywhere in there.
All right, but moving on to the next Marvel trailer we just got.
Yeah.
Deadpool 2. I mean, talk about 2 completely different movies between Infinity War and Deadpool 2. But you and I both really enjoyed the first one. It was a big surprise of just how good it was. And it was just a good showcase of like when someone like Ryan Reynolds has passion for a project and how to do it right. Like he just keeps sticking with it after years of getting told no.
Yeah.
Push on through and you get a great movie like that. Sequel looks pretty good. I mean, this trailer it's funny.
It's very funny.
Yeah.
I think they're keeping right on track. It's kind of nice that, you're right, Ryan Reynolds didn't have much support with the first one. He had to fight and fight and fight. And now he's proved everyone wrong that it made a ton of money and it was incredibly popular, that this time he has all the support when it comes to studio, when it comes to fans, everything. It's all behind him. And I think this trailer showcases it quite a bit. I think that they are upping the stakes a lot with this movie because the other one it was very polished and good looking, but it felt a little bit lower budget in comparison to some other superhero movies.
Oh, absolutely. And it was a much smaller story and much smaller stakes. And it looks like it's a bigger production. Looks like they're really putting the money into the action. The action looks good in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it looks like it is a bigger story with bigger stakes, but it's not like the ultimate end of the world kind of stakes. I was very surprised to see in this trailer that they're already rolling out with X-Force.
Yeah.
I thought they would like build up to it like maybe this movie Deadpool and Cable go against each other. They come to some sort of understanding, compromise at the end to team up for an X-Force movie, but they're already going into it. And I'm wondering if this Fox-Disney merger has anything to do with it. If like they're at Fox, they're just like, all right, man, well, might have some new bosses soon, so try to wrap it up, or maybe just accelerate the story for the overall arc.
Luckily, Disney's not interjecting anything with making it family friendly because this trailer is incredibly R-rated.
Well, I mean, the merger is still like about a year away from being official.
Sure. So it's nice that Fox still has control of this and they're keeping in the same vein as the first one.
The only thing I don't want to say nervous, but I'm just a little less excited for it after watching Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
Because it is the same director, David Leitch. He was one of the co-directors of the first John Wick. Yeah. So it's just that I didn't enjoy Atomic Blonde as much as I thought I would have, and part of it had to do with the action. So I'm just a little worried about that.
Okay.
But at the same time, maybe he was zoned in on Deadpool 2 and he just kind of half-assed Atomic Blonde for all I know.
That could be. And through the trailer once again, I mean, the action looks pretty crazy.
Good. Yeah.
It looks insane. It's funny that it shows off, even in the trailer, more than the first movie, how resilient Deadpool is. Of him just like turning his own head back around and being okay with it, getting hit by a car, getting his hand shot through. Like, it looks like it's going to up the stakes when it comes to the violence.
Yeah, and it looks like that's where, I mean, they have a much bigger budget for this one, obviously, because the first one made so much money. It looks like they're putting it into the action. Like, really, in the first one, there's only about 2 or 3 action set pieces.
Yeah.
As far as like a big action scene. And it looks like with this one, there's bigger action, more elaborate sets, bigger, like there's that part where he's fighting the guys with the swords, and there's like that sweeping shot. So I hope there's more
pools of water wherever he is.
Yeah. It looks like a spa. Yeah. But it looks like it's gonna be more cinematic and just like just like a grander production. And I just hope that they pull that off without souring the tone that they established so well in the first movie.
That's exactly what the only like thing where I'm like, I just hope they. You said it perfectly. I just hope they don't sour the tone. I think they should just keep with it. You know, just whatever they were doing, keep doing that because you're doing it right. Because even if they do more of what the first one was, that's what I want out of this. It's just more of that.
Yes. Before we leave you, this year we're going to be releasing a series of reviews, throwback reviews, every month, and celebrating the year 2008 for their 10-year anniversary. And some of these movies, it's kind of hard to believe they're 10 years old. But before we get into that, we just want to comment on why we're doing this, because 2008 was a game-changing year in movies. I mean, a lot of great movies came out. You know, we're talking about Dark Knight, Wall-E, Slumdog Millionaire, Pineapple Express, Milk, and Bruise, just all sorts of great movies. But I just want to focus on some of the game-changing movies. Like, let's start off with The Dark Knight, and just how it brought comic book movies from like a commercial product to like actual artistic prose.
Yeah, it's completely changed the game. Which you're right. It's kind of weird. It's been 10 years, but The Dark Knight set the precedent for the past. I would say it set a lot of the MCU's tones, or even like what the DC is trying to do with The Dark Knight, at least. But nothing's ever lived up to The Dark Knight for me as a superhero movie. I think it is the like if anyone says I've never seen a superhero movie before, I'd be like, see The Dark Knight.
Yeah. The Dark Knight is not only, it's not just a great superhero movie, like it broke through the genre, it's a great movie.
It is.
And that movie, along with Wall-E, is the supposed reason why the Academy Awards expanded from the field of 5 to up to 10, because so many people thought that Dark Knight and Wall-E should have gotten a Best Picture nomination. But
and they should have,
Yeah, but they didn't.
Right.
And another game-changing movie, speaking of the MCU, that was the release of Iron Man, which launched this whole thing into, you know, obviously to the culmination this year of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And just also, not only was it, you know, a game changer as far as like launching the shared universes, but it resurrected Robert Downey Jr.'s career.
It really did, and he was the perfect casting choice for it. And it's fun to go back and watch Iron Man and see how far they've come and how consistent they've been with this. It's just the amount of work spent for writing these scripts, having them all come together with all these characters meeting and still having all that chemistry is a huge feat for Marvel. I mean, it's a game changer in itself, as much as The Dark Knight, but in a different way.
The last game changer I want to touch on before we leave you is The Hurt Locker, just because that was the first movie where Catherine Bigelow became the first female director to win the Best Director Oscar.
Beating her ex-husband.
Yeah, beating her ex-husband, James Cameron, for Avatar, so that was pretty cool, too.
Yeah.
And I just think that kind of opened the door for female directors in general. Sure. I don't think that, you know, Patty Jenkins, maybe she wouldn't have gotten a chance at Marvel.
And it really launched Jeremy Renner. I mean, if you look at...
More Marvel.
More Marvel. And...
Anthony Mackie.
Mackie. Like, just all connects.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah,
jeez. Mind him all from this movie.
I mean, it's hard to look and not find an actor that's in the MCU somewhere.
Right, exactly.
You know, they've used everyone. But with Jeremy Renner, if you look at his past, he was really down on his luck as an actor. He almost, you know, he was about to quit completely because all I could remember him from really was Dahmer and National Lampoon Senior Trip. Like, that was it. And when I saw him in Hurt Locker, I was like, whoa, like, what happened? Like, he just, he made the right choice, and now Jeremy Renner is one of the best working actors today.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It really helped him out.
Yeah, and one more just kind of mentioned, just because, you know, it happened. It changed the game. Twilight, the first one came out.
Are we reviewing that?
No. But for better or worse, it did launch like this young adult novel kind of boom that we've received in the last few years.
And the like True Blood sexy vampire trend it's fading out now, but it was there for a while.
Oh yeah, it was really strong.
It was prominent.
This movie only pushed it forward.
Yeah.
So that's it for this film discussion. Want to know your guys' thoughts. What do you think about the Infinity War trailer, the Deadpool 2 trailer, and you know the movies of 2008? What was your favorite movie of 2008? Go ahead, leave a comment below.
Yeah, and our first Diamond review we're going to be bringing you is Funny Games, the American remake, which is something else. I'm really excited to talk about that movie.
Oh, me too.
We'll bring you that review soon, but don't forget,
there's no place like the theater.